Hi there, my name is Yesh Bharani and this is Team Sparta. Today we are going to learn about ancient Greek civilization. Many of you remember Greece from history books of class 10th and maths books since class 10th. As the originator of crazy letters, people with unspellable names, overrated ruins, obvious philosophies, hunky shirtless men fighting impossible wars, and also the Olympics. So let's see how this collection of very old not polis, help shape our current cities.
This is Sparta!
Since the history of Greek civilization is fairly well documented, we'll brush through quickly. The Greek civilization started here, on the rocky peninsula of the eastern Mediterranean Sea. In about 4000 years ago, shortly after the Bronze Age ended, independent cities sprang up on the coast of Aegean seas. Every city had their own government and traded with each other, just like our good old Indus guys. But unlike Indus Valley civilization, they were constantly at war with each other, in a classic European fashion. Major cities included Sparta, Corinth, Thebes, Rhodes, Argos, and Athens. Most of them have some kind of democracy, but also had stark social differences. They were divided into Ionic and Doric factions, mostly led by Athenians and Spartans. Each city-state had their own god to pray and an own army to kill and plunder. The most famous wars among many were the Trojan and the Peloponnesian Wars. They were very similar to the Indian epics as gods are told to be battling with super weapons in a classic good versus evil dualism. In the books called Odyssey and Iliad written by a poet called Homer. But we consider that history now. Sorry Tulsidas ji. But at around 500 BC, their neighbor, the Persian Empire, did what neighbors do and invaded Greece. And the city-states, the people of city-states did what democracies do and revolted. But these revolts brought Greece together and thus began the 20-year-long Greco-Persian War.
When I would gladly kill me if I were meant for victory, and I would die for anyone in mine. This is where we hold up! This is where we fight! This is where we fight! Remember this day, that will be yours all time!
Keeping aside the historical biases and over-exaggerations of today's pop culture, the Greek won the war because of their awesome navy, superior weapons, and better strategies. Also because they killed their weak babies and had more slaves than the Persians. Nevertheless, this ushered the golden age of the Greek Empire, which lasted for a century or 477 BC to 338 BC. This was the time we saw dudes like Aristotle, Herodotus, Archimedes, Euclid, Pythagoras, Aeschylus, Sophocles, Euripus, Astronophis, and many other tongue twisters, who progressed humanity in science, maths, philosophy, literature, and architecture, but not in social reforms, governance, economy, and road building. In fact, life was much better in the Persian Empire than in Greece at that time. Yes, and the city-states soon started fighting among themselves, which set the stage for Alexander the horse-taming, world-conquering, never-losing, battalion-leading, undemocratic, scandalous boy. But more on that later. First, see what Mansi has to say about the ancient cities.
The invention of formal city planning is attributed to Hippodamus. He helped design the new harbour town of Piraeus, which served as a commercial port for Athens further inland. Hippo's name is also frequently associated with other orthogonally planned towns such as Olynthus and Phryne. His direct involvement in these cases remains unproven, but his name remains permanently associated with this type of plan we call Hippodamian. The arrangement of the building and streets was such that the winds from the mountain and the sea close to the town could flow optimally through the city, providing cooling during the summer. This design was achieved by Mr. Hippo around 450 BC, which is very impressive. Hippodamus first applied these principles to his home city of Miletus. The grid plan developed on inspiration from geometrically designed settlement that later many cities were laid out according to this plan. Malicious, which is a fine example of grid plan, comprises of houses on blocks created by streets and side streets crossing at right angles with public building in the city center. This plan was retained in the Hellenistic period. However, the Roman period it began to deteriorate gradually. The Greeks were also the first to use solar architecture. They oriented the house to make use of sun during the winters while obscuring its rays during the summers. And the entire city was built this way as early as 400 BC.
The same principles were applied by the Chinese, who may have developed them independently or could have shared the knowledge along the paths of trade routes.
People were also divided into three. Based on the work, the line of the work. The first were the artisans, the others were the husbandmen, and the third category, or the people, were the mighty arms defenders of the states. Interestingly, the city was also divided into three parts. One sacred set apart to maintain the customary worship of the god, the second public to support the warriors, and the third private, which was the property of husbandmen. He also divided the laws into three parts: insult, injury, and homicide. The Greeks might just have been a fan of number 3 like the rest of the ancient civilization. The Greek towns were fortified and built at a high site. Towers projected beyond the lines of wall so that the enemy wishing to approach the city may be exposed to the fire of missiles. The streets and the alleys were laid out with regard to the climatic conditions. Temple and the public building were usually at the highest point of the city. There were many principles governing actual construction of the public building, their arrangement, and the different form of symmetries.
Thank you, Mansi, for telling us how the cities were. Now let's see what life looked like for the people living in those cities. And for that, we will explore the game called Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's an open world single player mission game set in at the time of Golden Age. It shows city of Athens in its amazing details and architectural accuracy. So let's dive into it, shall we? So here we have aerial view of the city. At the top of the house was covered by tiles, and they have various types of house. Poor and rich people have different type of houses. So let's take tour of the house of Pericles. He was the general of Athens in its golden age. This is the front of the house, and we can see high walls which provides privacy and assured security of the residents. Let's take eagle view of the house. So this is the front view of the house. Here we can see Doric columns and porch, and colorful house with small windows and stone in the bottom and plastered wall on the top. Now let's get close look of the house and activities of people inside. So here we have religious figure, colorful carpets, pots, decorated furniture and lamp, which shows that they had a great deal of trade with Persians and other neighborhood countries. So this is the front and bottom part of the house, which is for male members mainly, and while rear and top part of the house is preserved for women. So here in the left we have courtyard, and in front we have workshop. So let's get inside the workshop. Women are weaving here, potter shaping the pot, papyrus paper roll around here, colorful cushions and carpets. Maybe these women are weaving himation, a white wrap garment for family members. Now let's get back into the courtyard. Here we have wine, stone hearth, which have great religious significance in Greek life. Lampstand and fireplace. The courtyard is a private outdoor space which have great significance in Greek women life because they spend most of their time here singing song, taking care of children and supervising slaves. Let's get into the more private part of the house. So here we have stairs which leads you to more private part of the house. But first let's take a look of the most interesting part of the house, the symposium. The symposium is only open to Greek males, and the only women permitted here were the Hetarai. The Hetarai were not only physically stunning women but also highly educated and artistic. So now we are in the kitchen. Here you can see we have food. So we have meat and fruits and vegetables and grains also. So this is the open entry. Now let's go on top of the house. So here we have stairs, landing and stairs which leads you to the terrace. Here we can see women hanging around. They have some shaded space also where they can sit and enjoy music, wine and poetry. So all this shows architectural richness of this beautiful city. Poor people have got brick houses while rich people have more permanent houses with stones, plastered walls and tiles on the top. decorated with motifs and cornices. Now we are in the master bedroom of this house, bed with low padding, carpets, wooden dividers or partitions. It's a very rich house, so we have upper floor also fireplace and place to sit, enjoy music and breeze. So that's all. So Issa, what Athens was in 400 BC, but it won't remain like that for long. Let's see what happened as the Macedonians came from the north. History over to you, Yash.
Alexander, popularly known as Alexander the Great, was born to King Philip I in the year 356 BC. King Philip was the first to conquer the whole Greek peninsula and defeat the squabbling Athens and Sparta. But his son, after taking the throne at the age of just 17, set out to conquer the world. His empire was so vast, was so huge, was so legendary that it was the 23rd largest empire by area. But never mind, it was great because it lasted for 8 years. Greatness. Nevertheless, by the time he died at the age of 32 in 323 BC, he had united the Egyptians, Persians, the people from Indus Valley, and the Greeks into a single Hellenistic fusion, which ended as soon as Alexander died. The fractured kingdom were divided up by his generals, whose dynasties lasted much longer than Alexander. The Antigonoids of Greece were later conquered by the Romans. The Seleucidids were later conquered by Mongols, and the Ptolemies became the pharaohs of Egypt, which were later conquered by Caesar. Here we have Pernica to talk about its architectural implications.
So, as Alexander or Sikandar, as the locals call him, marched across Asia with his Macedonian army, he was greatly influenced by his Egyptian, Persian, and Indian friends. The Greeks evidently took the art, architecture, culture, and worldly knowledge along with the girls, slaves, and wives and created a blend of everything with the Greek culture as the pivot. Today we call it the Hellenistic Age. The architects and planners of that time founded cities based on Hellenistic principles and lethargically named 31 of them after Alexander and one after his horse. And no, our Sikandrabad is named after Sikandar Jha, the third Nizam of Hyderabad. Sorry for the detour. One of the best examples is the city of Alexandria in Egypt, which was built by Alexander's architect as the capital of Ptolemaic Egypt. The Hellenistic Alexandria, is famously known for the lighthouse of Alexandria, Pharos, one of the seven wonders of the ancient world, its great library, the largest in the ancient world, and the necropolis, one of the seven wonders of the Middle Ages. Ancient city layout also shows division of land in different regions. Bruchium, the magnificent part of the city for the Greek occupants, and Lakutis for the Egyptian occupants. There are also evidences that Greek architects tried to create a replica of the Persian marvels like the Odeon of Pericles, a wooden structure used as a music hall which was an exact copy of the Hall of 100 Columns in Persepolis, and the Prytaneum, a building where the executive committee of Athenian democracy gathered, which was inspired from the Persians. Greek architects were also inspired by the Persian art and ideologies and implemented them in their architecture in their own unique way. The Indians also learned from the Greek in their own ways and gave birth to what is now known as the Indo-Greek style of art and architecture. The modern kings built cities like Takshila, Srikap, and Barikot according to an Hippodamian grid plan architectural style characteristic of the Greek city Olynthus in Macedonia. And maybe we should be thanking the Greeks for the Ionic column, whose capital design made our national emblem, the Ashoka pillar. The exchanges were both ways, as evident from the Indian ankle bracelets which can be seen on some Greek mythological characters like the Artemis. The Buddhist stupas inspired Greek Tholos temple, which later Romans perfected into domes and which the Islamic Empire improved further as they beat up the Romans, and which the Mongols or their grandchildren, the Mughals, brought back to India, evolving something starting from this to this. Different civilizations did inspire the Greek, but we cannot deny the fact that the Greeks were masters of art and architecture. Their knowledge of proportions and the way they used the principles in their buildings was so profuse and well documented that every other civilization after them, may it be the Greco-Romans or the Byzantines, had a version of the Greek architectural style. In fact, so much so that in the Renaissance period an attempt was made to revive the classical Greek architecture to bring back light to the field of architecture. Even now, with all the latest materials and technologies, we still have cities and buildings which are inspired from the Greek ideologies and students studying the marvel of the classical Greek architecture. Okay, enough of architecture. Now let us hear from Sampath what else we learned from these Greeks.
Greeks saved our lives today with some of their inventions. Number one is alphabet. The word Number 3 is maps. Anaximander Number 5, the Olympics. The Olympics are one of the most popular world. 7, alarm clocks. Ancient alarm clocks were complex machines that Number 8, science and math. Remember the fact that the earth is round. Number 9, democracy.
Thank you, Sampath. So, in conclusion, we can say that the Greeks can rightfully be said to be the fathers of Western civilization and the mothers of everything else. Thanks for watching.
इसको ड्रामे को